traffic 222 Papa Hotel is on the roll at Jabbar on 18.
And Jabbar traffic 400 members, mile and a half final. Appreciate you pulling out in front of me. Good morning, fellow aviators. My name's Matt Farrell, and I'm the flying salesman. Got a beautiful morning today. We're going to blast off out of here, headed to Wichita, Kansas for a couple meetings in headquarters, then down to Texas for some meetings with vendors, and then back home. I'm going to take you guys along on each one of those flights. We're going to make a video out of those. So we're going to get some good experience going into Wichita, going into DFW area, and then back over to here. So hopefully you can pick up something along the way. Appreciate you subscribing to the videos. Hit that like button. And I want to thank you to all my new subscribers that I've gotten this week. I really appreciate you guys jumping on board and becoming one of my fellow aviators. I hope you're liking the content and look forward to making more of it for you. So we're going to get back to work in the cockpit, and I'll talk to you in the air.
558, thank you, runway 14, cleared, touch and go.
Shreveport, downtown airport, Shreveport, Louisiana. Automated weather observation 1425 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 05 Celsius. Dew point 03 Celsius. Altimeter 3023. Remarks. Density altitude minus 1,300.
Alright, parking brake set, cabin doors and windows locked, controls free and correct. Flight instruments checked, altimeter set, heading on 14. Put that on my map, put that on my nav. Mixture set, elevator rudder trim set. Throttle 1700, we're going to check magnetos, check props, check the engine instruments. Good drop. Good drop. Cycle that propeller. Got a drop in oil pressure, decrease in RPM. All engine instruments in the green. Alright, we're going to do a 10-degree flap takeoff. We're going to move full power, red line on our manifold pressure and our RPM. Oh, that's a good looking airplane. It is a, looks like a Champ with Maltese crosses on it. If any of you guys fly RC and you remember the ugly stick airplanes, that's how that airplane is painted. I tell you, it really gets me excited because I had a remote control airplane with this exact same paint scheme, and so it's like seeing one of my toys come to life. So forgive me for geeking out about the airplane, but it really is cool.
Remaining.
All right, turbocharged takeoff. You guys may wonder why I say this every time, but it's basically my checklist that I have in my head for this takeoff. Line up on the center line. 30 inches of manifold pressure. Let that turbo lag. We're going to go red line, red line. Looking for 80 knots. There's 80 knots, and we rotate. Positive rate, gears coming up, and accelerating. What that also does, when I give that cadence, if something were to happen to not go according to plan.
48 November, contact Shreveport departure, have a pleasant flight.
4 November's going departure, we'll see you tomorrow. And turn to heading 170. We're accelerating, flaps coming up.
And Shreveport departure, Centurion 604, numbers off of downtown, climbing for 2,170 on the nose.
For 6048 November, Shreveport departure, disregard the ident, reset transponder squawk 3631.
3631 for 604 November.
Centurion 48 November radar contact. Proceed on course Jabara. Climb and maintain 6,000.
Alright, up to 6,000 for 6048 November, turning right on course.
Alright, power's coming back. About a 320 heading to Wichita.
Baron 58 Whiskey Golf, contact Monroe approach 126.9er. 26.9er Whiskey Golf.
Set that altitude bug for 6,000. Direct 2, activate. 332, there it is right there. Alright, we're in cruise climb, gears up, flaps up. Power is 30 inches, manifold pressure, 2,500 RPM, mixture to about 150 pounds per hour. Engine instruments are in the green. Showing about 140 knots indicated, 148 knot cruise airspeed, 134 knot ground speed, so she's climbing really good today at 500 feet a minute. Coming up on 5,000 feet, 1,000 to go. A little cool in here this morning. One of the things that I was explaining when I was taking off is that if you verbally announce everything you're going to do when you're in that process of taking off, what that does is you develop a rhythm. And that makes you understand that if the airplane does not respond accordingly, then you need to abort the takeoff and assess and figure out what's different and why is the airplane not performing. So that's a mental check. One of the things that I do that helps me to understand what's going on with the airplane. You don't want confirmation bias just because the airplane's running down or rolling down the runway that you think it's going to take off. You want to make sure that everything is happening in sequence when it's supposed to. One of the things that some instructors have told me in the past is you need to brief every takeoff and you need to have a plan for every takeoff so you know what to do in the event that the takeoff does not go according to plan. I was told once upon a time that you should treat every takeoff as an aborted takeoff and be surprised if you actually get off the ground. I don't think I take it quite to that level. Maybe I should, but that is certainly in the back of my mind. Is this airplane performing the way I expect it to? Am I rotating in the same area of the runway that I'm used to rotating at?
Cessna 8411 uniform, report departure ident.
Reach 6,000 feet, starting my level off. Let that airspeed build. Gonna have to add a little bit of left rudder.
Uniform ident.
Power back.
Uniform radar contact 1 mile south of the downtown airport. Regional landing runway 14. Wind calm, altitude.
Drops back to about 2450. 2800.
Base runway 14.
Close those cow flaps.
Bus base runway 14, Cessna 11 uniform.
And do a rough leading here.
Shreveport approach, good
Got a
morning.
23 knot headwind right on the nose.
5,500 and we have Bravo.
Cruiser 122 Delta Lima, Shreveport approach, inner right base runway 14.
We're established in cruise flight now. As I told you guys before, we're headed up to Wichita, got some meetings up there. One of the things we're going to be discussing is Sun and Fun. We're about 60 days away from Sun and Fun. So I want to make sure that you guys know that Aeromock Wilco is going to have a booth there. Come by the booth, say hello. I'm going to have copies of my book in the booth that I'll sign for you if you're interested in a signed copy of my book. Hangar Tales. So we'd appreciate meeting you face to face. I always enjoy meeting my fans and my subscribers. Anybody in the aviation community wants to come up and say hello, I'm always excited to meet. I want to know what you're working on, want to know what you're flying, and just find out a little bit more about what you've got going on in aviation. Maybe you've got a little one or a young one that's interested in an aviation career. We can talk about that. So come on by the booth and let's chat a little bit. Oshkosh and Sun and Fun are one of my most favorite events. It's where a bunch of aviation enthusiasts come together and we get to talk airplanes, enjoy the air shows, enjoy what's going on outside. Hopefully the weather will be great and really enjoy this wonderful, wonderful industry that we're in. So come by the booth and say hello. I hope you'll be there at Sun and Fun or maybe Oshkosh. If not there, catch me at a trade show. just a few weeks, we've got Aircraft Electronics Association coming up in Dallas, Texas. So we'll be there for that, be in the booth and talking to customers and shaking hands and that sort of thing. So I can't say enough about this business we're in. Aeromach is a really great company to work for, and I have the opportunity to travel the country and meet a lot of people, meet some of you, and share this world that I get to live in. So I appreciate you coming along. I hope you enjoy the flight. I'm going to get back to work here. I'll probably shut the cameras off for a little bit, and then I'll check back in with you a little bit further down the road. Welcome back to the cockpit, fellow aviators. We're about an hour out from Jabbar Airport in Wichita, Kansas. Coming up on Lake Eufaula in Oklahoma, and then we'll be coming over Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's starting to come in the distance out there. Got really great visibility today. Gonna get some shots outside the airplane for you so you can see what I'm seeing outside. Flew over Broken Bow. That's a real pretty lake over there in southeastern Oklahoma. A lot of people from my hometown, they like to go up there and vacation and spend time on the lake. So that's a really cool destination. We've already switched tanks. We're with Fort Worth Center, and they'll be handing us off to Tulsa approach soon. I've already got the ASOS tuned in for Jabbar. I've got the Unicom frequency tuned in for Jabbar. So all that's done ahead of time. I've switched tanks. We're in cruise flight. All the temps look good. I got 28 inches of manifold pressure, 2,400 RPMs, oil temperature is 168 degrees. All my cylinder head temps are where they need to be, and everything's looking good. Put a comment down below if you have a Cessna 210. I want to know the numbers that you fly your 210 at. I'd like to know what you cruise at, what your engine, or what your cylinder head temperatures are at, your EGT run at, and that sort of thing. I know every little airplane has their own little idiosyncrasies. Everyone's just a little bit different. But I always like to kind of understand where my airplane ranks with everybody else's. So if you're a Turbo 210 driver, I'd sure like to know your temps.
1539, comment Tampa level 360. Over 2246 Romeo, contact Razorback approach 120.9er.
Fort Worth Center, Centurion 2246 Romeo, contact Razorback approach at 126.9.
120.9er.
120.9, 46 Romeo.
The guy that made the same mistake I did, except he caught it. If you looked at 2 videos ago, I was flying down to Destin, Florida, missed a radio frequency, 124.25. I thought it was 124.5, and had to go back and get that clarified. Not a big deal, but it's not one of those things, not one of those mistakes you like to make very often. Want to make sure that you listen carefully and get everything dialed in correctly, so when you get that handoff, you get a smooth handoff, and we all know where we are and where we're supposed to be. We've had a lot of beautiful clear days in the past couple of weeks after all the rainy and icy cold weather moved out. Really been enjoyable to fly. I'm kind of disappointed airplane's got to go down for annual next week. I have mentioned to you, I think we are going to be doing another oil change. They wanted an oil change in 10 hours because I have some high iron content in the last couple of oil changes. So that's one thing that they're going to be taking a close look at. And I'll give you guys an update in future videos on what we find on that. I've talked to the mechanic that I use in Shreveport. I've talked to my mechanic in Texas, and also had an opportunity to talk to some engine guys this last week at a trade show. And they all agreed that it's safe to fly for the 10 hours, but when it goes in for annual, we need to do a good thorough inspection and see what's coming or what's creating that iron in the oil. It's only just a little bit over the recommended maximum, but and there's no metal showing up in the oil filter, so everybody's kind of at a loss as to what's going on there. So we're gonna get inside. We're gonna bore scope the cylinders. And also check the gearbox, the accessory case, make sure there's nothing going on in there.
6048 November, contact Tulsa approach 124.0.
124.0 for 604 November.
There's that handoff we were looking for.
5 Hotel Delta, contact.
Give it a few minutes, make sure we don't step on anybody. For a few seconds anyway.
Good morning, Tulsa approach, Centurion 6048, November's with you, level 6000.
Centurion 6048 November, Tulsa approach, Tulsa altimeter 3015.
3015, 48 November.
I'm curious to know if any of my subscribers out there in YouTube land, if any of you have jobs in the aviation industry. A lot of times I can't tell, you know, your name by the username that you have on YouTube. Sometimes it's, you know, a nondescript name and I can't recognize it. Some of my friends that have subscribed, I recognize their names, but maybe some of you out there are in the aviation business. If you are, reach out and leave me a comment and let me know where you work. Be glad to, be good to know other people in the aviation business and make more connections. One of my goals for the YouTube channel is just to expose more people to the aviation world, not only just the flying and the flights and that sort of thing. I've had some conversation with some flight schools. Hopefully we're going to do some videos with them, introduce you to some of those people, introduce anybody who's wanting to start a career in aviation, maybe start a career to be a pilot. We're going to try and expose more and more people on how to do that. You've heard me say it time and time again how wonderful it is to be in this business, how much I enjoy being in aviation. And so we are going to try and expose as many people as we can to this great world, this great business. The aircraft down there taxiing out. Someone else is going to get to go flying today. Really is amazing to be able to wake up at home, drive to the airport, jump in the plane from Shreveport, Louisiana to Wichita, Kansas in just a couple of hours, take care of some essential business that we need to take care of, and then be back in Dallas tomorrow for vendor and customer visits. So airplanes are a fantastic tool. If you have a customer base that's spread out in a certain region, I just can't speak highly enough of how efficient you can get around and get business done that you need to get done. We got snow on the ground up here. Just north of Tulsa. This would be the snow and precipitation that kept me from coming up yesterday. Looks like it's lingering a little bit.
48 November, contact Kansas City Center 127.8. We'll see it.
127.8 for 604 November. Have a good day.
Good day.
1278. Transfer.
240, pilot discretion with Yankee.
November 620, Mike Victor, Kansas City Center, drop on altimeter 3013. November 651, Sierra Foxtrot, Kansas City Center, descend a pilot's discretion, maintain 10,000, Wichita altimeter 3008.
3008, pilot discretion 10,000, 10 Foxtrot. Good morning, Kansas City Center, Centurion 604, November's with you, level 6000.
November 6048, November, Kansas City Center, Wichita altimeter 3008.
3008, we're in November.
We are 23 minutes out from Jabbar. We're going to go ahead and turn on that ASOS.
Dew point -05 Celsius. Altimeter 3007. Remarks. Density altitude 1,100. Wichita.
November 4 Juliet Delta, mid altitude, descend to maintain
Automated weather
13,000.
observation 1629er Zulu.
Wedge 1 flight, radar contact, 80 miles north of Tulsa. Clear to Tulsa Airport via direct, maintain 1,1000, 11 block 13, 1113, altimeter 3015.
05 Celsius. Altimeter 3007.
All right, so the winds are 210 at 8. We'll be landing to the south on runway 18. Starting to see the skyline of Wichita out there, 55 nautical miles away. Beautiful clear day. Wichita, to me, is a unique airspace to fly into. Got so many airports in one little area. Obviously, you have Eisenhower that's out to the west.
Juliet Delta, contact Tulsa approach.
You got McConnell Air Force Base that's right there by Aeromock Labs, our headquarters. Pawnee right next to it, the old Cessna factory. Just north of that is the beach field where the beach factory is. And just north of that is Jabara. And then but about 5 miles to the east is Stearman Airport, which is a real popular airport for people if you want to fly in and grab a great lunch. There's a restaurant on the field at Stearman Field, and it's a fantastic place to go grab a bite to eat. Hopefully one day we can shoot a short film of jumping in the airplane and flying over there for lunch.
How long do you need in your Ecamo?
We're going to change that fuel to the fuller tank for our descent into Jabara.
November 6048, November, contact Wichita approach 134.85.
134.85 for point November. Have a good day.
10 to 11 o'clock, 4 miles southbound to Skyhawk at 3,000.
Looking for traffic, 8 Hotel Victor.
Stallion 8 Hotel Victor, maintain VFR at above 3,500, expect runway 19 left.
Expect 19 left, 3,500, 8 Hotel Victor.
Cessna 70 Juliet, maintain VFR 3,000.
3,000, 70 Juliet. Good morning, Wichita approach, Centurion 604 November with you, level 6,000. I have the numbers at Jabara and like to request a visual and lower.
Number 6048 November, Wichita approach, morning, Wichita altimeter 3008. Expect visual approach, Jabara Airport, send at pilot's discretion, maintain 4,000.
3008 and pilot's discretion to 4,000. We'll expect a visual 18 for 4 November. 4 November's leaving 6,000 for 4.
We're going to do a cruise descent, keep that power in
maintain 3,000.
at about 26, 27 inches of manifold pressure right now. Now slowly ease that back.
Destination ASOS is 134.025.
Looking for traffic, low 23.
Thank you, Gladys.
Number 48 November, turn right heading 340, vectors around Beach class Delta.
Right, 340 for 604 in November.
All right, so Beachfield is active today. They're not going to let me go through their class Delta airspace. What we're going to wind up doing is crossing midfield and enter a right downwind for 18. 18 has a right-hand traffic pattern, so being out here to the east, they're going to swing us wide from Beachfield or Beach Factory, and then we'll just cross the midfield and enter a right downwind. There is flight training that goes on at Jabbar, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Go ahead and tune in the Unicom frequency and be listening.
Trade in 17 full stop poke.
And see if anybody's in the pattern. 400 to go on that descent. Gonna start slowing that descent down. Slowing the airplane down, and then we'll be able to get it configured when they give us our next clearance.
Our traffic, Skyline 4 Whiskey is about 3 to the southwest, fly over the field, make a right downwind for 18, full stop, Jabbar.
There's 4,000 feet. We'll let it all, let that airspeed bleed off and let it start slowing down.
Number 48 November, just going to maintain 3,000.
Down to 3,000 for 604 in November.
Skyline 8 Hotel Vector, resume navigation altitude, straight in, runway 19 left, contact tower.
Kick that autopilot off.
Approach Large 23, Newton Airport.
Let it slow down.
23, no traffic reserved between you and the airport. Squawk VFR, change your advisory frequency approved. Good day.
Got it well below 150. Go ahead and put in that first notch of flaps.
Wichita departure, Sky 3211.
Start that descent.
Climb 5,000, runway heading.
Number 48 November, Jabbar Airport, 10 o'clock in about 8 miles.
Inside for 604 November.
Number 48 November, cleared visual approach to Jabbar Airport. How do you plan on canceling IFR?
I'll cancel with you now for 40 November.
48 November, IFR cancellation received. Squawk VFR, change your advisory frequency approved. Remain clear of the beach class Delta. Appears to be one on the pattern at Jabbar. Have a good day.
Alright, 4 November, squawk 1200, switching frequencies, and we'll stay clear of the Delta. Good day.
Jabbar traffic, Centurion 604 November 7 to the east-southeast. We'll be crossing midfield for a right downwind 18 Jabbar.
And Jabbar traffic, Skyline 42 Whiskey is short final 18, full stop, Jabbar.
Switch my map over to the VFR sectional here. So we got to stay outside that dash line. That's the Delta. So we're just going to stay on this northerly heading. Then we'll make that left turn and cross midfield at Jabara. Keep that descent going. At about 23 inches of manifold pressure right now. Gonna start that left turn. Jabara traffic, Centurion 604 November, 5 miles to the east. We'll cross midfield, enter a right downwind for 18 Jabara. Go ahead and pull that nose up. Get it below 140 so I can get that gear down. There we go, about 135. Aviators coming down. Check ADSB. Make sure there's no one out there lining up for Beach or McConnell. A little bit of wind down here. Bar traffic, Centurion 604 November crossing midfield. We'll turn right downwind for 18 Jabara. We are at traffic pattern altitude. Nice thing about Wichita, everything's laid out in a grid, so you have some nice straight roads to line up on for visual cues. At 20 inches of manifold pressure, now pulling it back to about 18 inches of manifold pressure. We're on a downwind. Beam the numbers. Roll in with that prop. Below 115, get 20 degrees of flaps. Jabara traffic, Centurion 604 November is turning right, base 18 Jabara. Start that turn. Thank you, Gladys. Jabara traffic, 48 November's turning final, 18 Jabara. Keep that turn going.
And Jabara traffic 222 Papa Hotel is on the roll at Jabara on 18.
And Jabara traffic, 48 November's mile and a half final. Appreciate you pulling out in front of me. If you become a professional aviator, do not do like this pilot did. If he wanted me to extend my downwind, he could have asked me, and I would have been glad to extend it out. When I was on downwind, he pulled over here to the ramp down here on the side and was, looked like he was getting his clearance or something, so. He just had to get out of here. I'll come in a little bit low, rake the leaves. And Jabara traffic 6048 November. Clear 18 going to the ramp.
I'm taxiing into the ramp and I keep replaying this over and over in my mind. I've been in this situation before and there have been times where I've gone around. There's been times like this one where I've landed, and it's always a juggling act. I am a little bit frustrated with myself because I allowed myself to get a lot lower on my approach than I wanted to, and that's because I allowed myself to be fixated on what the other aircraft was doing and whether or not he was going to be safely down the runway. I know that two aircraft can occupy the air. I know that two aircraft can occupy the runway at the same time, but I don't think it's a very good practice, and it's something that I want to avoid. So I'm taxiing in and really just thinking to myself, what should I have done different? And I really think that given the situation, I think I handled it about as best as it could be done. I slowed my aircraft down to my final approach speed and then allowed that aircraft to clear. I knew, given the airspace, because I had just flown over, that he was going to have a right turnout. So I felt like that if I had accelerated and started trying to go around, there was the possibility that I was going to overfly him. And at the same time, I was going to be needing to make a right-hand turn about midfield to be entering a downwind. And now I'm maneuvering kind of low to the ground and at a high power setting in a climb. So I didn't feel like that was the best scenario. So he was turning out either going due south or to the right as well, because I knew McConnell was busy today. I knew Beach was busy today. And I just felt like we were going to be occupying the same airspace. So I took advantage of the fact that he was in a turbine aircraft and let him accelerate down the runway. I wanted to make sure I got on the ground well short of his takeoff point to avoid any wake turbulence. So just a reminder, I mean, you turbine guys, I know y'all are spending a lot of money when you're on the ground and you're burning fuel, but if you'll just communicate what you want to do, hey, we're going to be ready at the end and we're going to take off. You know, I would have been glad to extend my downwind for, you know, another 30 seconds. That would have been no big deal. We'd have opened up quite a bit of space. So not much else to say. I get everything shut down here on the airplane and finalized and get off to my meeting. So just replaying it over and over in my mind, and that's why I don't have any dialogue at the end of the flight here, is because I'm really just kind of replaying it in my head, wondering what I should have done different. So appreciate you guys coming along. Thanks for all the subscribers who have subscribed this week. I really appreciate it. Looking forward to meeting some of you at Oshkosh Sun and Fun, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Y'all take care.